time we've had our shit together. I'm
At
teasing.
4:59.
Yeah.
We figured we were going to start. You guys, sorry, I just had to back up for a second. Welcome to the SoulTech group team live stream where we're going to be talking about sensual living. I'm teasing a little bit, but last year, as the year was closing, we had some interesting moments trying to figure out. It was all new for us. It was new for you, and now we've got it all going on, and we're coming to you uh streaming to multiple apps. So I'm going to shush up now and let everybody
Yeah.
say hello.
Good to see. Hey to everybody on all
Hey.
our platforms. Hi, Instagram for the first time.
Yay, Insta. What a day to be
Yeah,
live.
right. And we're live on TikTok and X
And YouTube.
and YouTube, and of course our fabulous Facebook group, SoulTech.
Yes, the origin of it all.
Right.
Welcome back, everybody. It's our first one of the year.
Happy 2025.
Yeah, no,
Hmm.
when you just said last year, I was like, what is she talking about? But you know what's cool is like this is studies show that this is the week that everybody gives up on their resolutions that they made on New Year's. So that's why I said what a day to be live, among other things.
Among other things.
Right. So gosh, you guys, what have you been up to? Apparently you guys had a special time recently. I got to hear about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I celebrated a birthday in Fab's homeland, DR, where we were able to peek a little bit at the Coconut Paradise Resort in Palenque, where we're having our retreat. So that was amazing. Like, I feel refreshed, rejuvenated, like massage on the beach, fresh fish, you name it. Got me back inspired and ready to start the new year. Thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I mean, I the last few years I haven't had to do the winters in New York so much because I'd moved away for a little while. And there's like that holiday hangover period where things just seem to like, okay, we're back to it's just winter, right? And I was really wilting. And so you know, Cynthia, you and I talk a lot about walking our talk here, right? Because we're talking about healing and putting ourselves in spaces of support and pleasure and ease and grace and we're also New Yorkers, and all of us own multiple or run multiple platforms, multiple businesses, and it's so easy to forget that we have a lot to do. And so I'm very grateful that Carlton had a birthday because it was like, girl, it is time to get F out of here and go do some self-care. So, and I'm not saying this from ego, but I've noticed lately that I love myself a little bit more every time I make a conscious decision to take care of myself.
Very good.
Uh-oh. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
Uh, I was
She's
like,
like,
you were all frozen, so I just reloaded
Oh,
it.
weird. Okay. Well, I was just saying that, um, I'm loving catching myself in the moments of not, of doing so much and feeling like ish, because right before we left, I was like, what are all these pains? And I'm not going to buy into the story that it's like age, right? Because I don't do age,
Yeah.
but and I move enough that it
mhm.
shouldn't be that, but like literally we spent 3 days in our old stomping grounds of Boca Chica, which is kind of like where Carlton and I first used to go to like hang out. And it's been what, Carlton, a couple decades since we did
Oh, a
that?
couple
Like
decades, more
a
or
couple
less.
decades. It was definitely pre-COVID. So it was really nice because we're doing this together that we were able to hold each other accountable to we are going to rest and we're going to have pleasure and we're going to like chill and not be on our phones. And so what I got from that is all the doing and all the mental prep that comes into doing the things that we need to do each day comes so much easier when we walk our talk and when we like I literally after 3 days of chilling normally if I make a video or a reel or if I'm doing something to promote my business, it takes me 3 days of like amping myself up. I just climbed a tree, made a video. You know what I mean? It's like it flows because I just surrendered to the fact that like I need to take care of myself. And
Yeah.
I preface that preface was to say that of course Palenque is a really special place to me because that was, you know, where I grew up. Like it's where my family is from. It was the closest beach to our town. So I went there as a kid, and it's one of the few places in the country that's not, you know, touristy and has natural. The sand is not imported. It is black magnetic sand
I
rocks.
love
Like
that.
it's
And it's so good.
gorgeousness.
It's so
And
good.
yeah, and I mean, I want to talk more about that. I don't know if it's in this segment, but like, you know, I was reminding Carlton and you that like the sand there actually is like a magnet, right? Like, and
Oh
I
yeah.
think Carlton, you got a chance to see how quickly things manifest when you make intentions on magnetized land. It's just kind
Yeah.
of really magical. And the place is beautiful. I'm really excited that we're hosting there.
I'm I'm excited that as well that I got to share this time with Fab because I feel like, you know, as we enter this year of the snake and all the different metamorphoses and changes and the skins that are, you know, coming off hopefully with ease, it also makes us a bit more sensitive to what we take in and what's all around us. So um I think it's a great segue and smart for us to start our new year with this discussion on sensual living because
Yeah.
you know it's really just take with more intention everything that's already around us and how we appreciate it and have more gratitude for it and get sensory overload.
Yeah, we do. You know, before we start talking about sensual living, I have to talk about what you were saying, Fab, about the aches and pains. So I really believe, especially based on just my own experience in helping other people heal, as well as seeing what happened to the women in my family. I really believe that most aches and pains are an accumulation of stress and trauma in the body being stored, and that so much of what people are dealing with as they age isn't about aging, it's about having an accumulation of things that weren't healed that just begin to wear on the body over time. And so much of being able to loving yourself and taking yourself somewhere special for a retreat is about having the chance. I mean, we should be doing this in our daily life, but let's be realistic. A lot of people haven't had a couple of years to spend on a focused healing journey, and sometimes you need to step away and actually take yourself somewhere else to reset and sort of recognize that you've got a bit of an accumulation going on. It could be decades. It depends on where you're at on your spiritual journey. It could be just this year adding up into your body. And the next thing you know, you're getting a cold or you're getting sick or your back hurts. And I really do believe a lot of that, and a lot of that association with age is really about the fact that we're not taught as human beings to actually to cleanse ourselves of the negativity and the unhealthy energy, and not store those unhealthy thoughts in our body, and being able to recognize and accept our emotions for what they are instead of just stuffing them and keeping moving forward. And so I love that you guys got the chance to get away. I think before I came, you guys, I'm now, I was in New York for a while. Now I'm in Florida, and just in being in the warm weather and the sunshine, my health has bounced. Boing.
No, literally, the aches and pains disappeared the moment I got off the plane in DR, and they literally re-entered. At some point, I remember I was like snoozing on the plane, and I was like, "We must be in New York." My neck hurt. You know, it was really, really like crunchy as soon as I got. I mean, you know, also winter is really hard on the body. I think a lot of our
Mhm.
followers are, you know, because we're New Yorkers, are from New York, and New York winters in particular. I mean, it's really hard to be embodied in a city like this where you're, especially nowadays, where you're constantly protecting yourself, particularly if you're, you know, doing public transit or being around people at all, really.
Mm,
Um,
Yeah.
and I think like last night, Carlton and I were having a discussion about embodiment and pleasure, right? And one of the things that was kind of a breakthrough for me. And you know, when I say breakthrough, I don't mean like, oh my God, I had this crazy moment and their like lights went off. It was like something I know, but like you sometimes you have to take things in layers to really embody them, right?
mm,
And
Mhm.
it's the fact that the act of rest is actually very productive. It's extremely productive. And actually, today I was thinking that I wanted to shout out, no idea if they're aware of our group or on here or whatever, but two of my teachers, one is my friend, and he was my first life coach, the first time I worked with a life coach, Greg
Yeah.
DeMamos, and Sean Roop, who was my first Tantra teacher. And I thought today it's so wild that the two best pieces of advice that I got in regards to self-care and healing were from men. And I don't, I'm not throwing shade by saying that. I say that because I mean anybody who's in a wellness industry knows that we market to women because women will spend money on going to retreats and getting massages and doing self-care, and men just go on sex binges. And no judgment, like the sex binges can be empowering too. But
Not
um
just sex binges.
well, pretty much. Um, not mad at it though. I'm just saying that, Greg said to me when I was working with him, and I don't remember what particular crisis I was in, but it had something to do with me doing a lot and not seeing the shift, right? Because you do all these things. That happens a lot with healing too. Like I'm drinking my juices, I'm doing my yoga. Why am I not seeing the results on the outside? Or even things aren't flowing, right? And he suggested that each time that I implement a new behavior, I reward myself. And I mean, anyone who knows me knows I'm not shy about like being decadent or whatever. But like when he said that, I was like, oh, wow. Like, really? I'm going to baby myself like that? Like, I'm going to give myself a reward. And honestly, I had so many things shift in that one week. He was like, literally, it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to go and spend like $1,000 at the spa or whatever. But like, that mentality of like acknowledging that you made a new choice and a new behavior and rewarded yourself for it, because that's what grounds it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing Sean said to me is that sometimes the only acceptable response to life is to surrender. Because, like, and he used the metaphor of like being in an ocean. If you're in the ocean and a giant wave is coming and you're going to fight it, it's going to eat you, right? Like, it's going to take you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Relaxing
surrender.
into it. Yeah, I
Go
love
with the
that.
flow.
I love that. Sorry, you guys, we've had a bouncy connection. I know the weather is pretty tragic all over the country. There's a cold front coming in, so we've had a little bit of bounce here with people coming in and out, but that's okay. We'll survive. Fab, I love all that you just shared, and I think that analogy about the ocean is so valuable because there are times when, and I talk about this a lot of times when I go live on TikTok with people because they want the answer to things, and it's like they're so focused on the end result that they can't actually deal with the moment that they're creating all this anxiety in. And I'm like, you've got to stop creating expectations or setting up an idea. Like I get a lot of people saying, am I going to get engaged or married to Johnny, who I just met? And I'm like, do you know how
Not
much pressure?
Johnny.
I'm like, do you know how much pressure you're putting on this relationship by deciding where it's going before you've actually even discovered the relationship is
Mm,
healthy and good for you guys? And it's a repellent in a relationship when you show up with an agenda. It's subconscious, but you're that's what you're
mm,
doing, and learning to relax into life and just allow things to be where they're at right now is probably one of the most difficult things for most of us to do because
I
we're
think that's so
trained.
dope what you just said. You said it's a repellent to have an expectation in a that is so beautiful, Sean.
I was thinking the same thing. Ooh, that repellent is good.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you show up somewhere, like say, you have an agenda and your behavior it has that agenda about it, the other
Mhm.
person may not know what's putting them off, but they can sense that you want them to go somewhere. And I think that's what happens so often in relationships. Um, is that
Everyone knows everything energetically, even if they're not like conscious of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that whole like not acknowledging that the psychic ability of being able to know, to just know, you can feel it. And
Yeah.
anyway, sensual living is really about, I think sensual living really is about being in that flow state of just allowing, of doing and taking action towards your dreams, trying not to manifest outcomes that involve other people's emotional involvement. That's I think one of the hardest for a lot of people is that. But sensual living, and this is what I found when I first wrote Unleash the Empress. I remember going through. I have a chapter on the senses, which you and I've all discussed. Um, the senses are. superpowers when you're present in their use.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not present in their use, it's
Yeah.
like you're losing half of the possibilities within that. So
Right.
I'm dying to hear what's going on in her brain.
I was like,
Well,
that took
no,
a second, but that's good. Yeah.
I love
well, no,
that.
I was just thinking about retreats, right? And like being in community that supports your doing that, because we're coming to the retreat with a shared intention, and we're aligned. But also, again, yeah, that's why I'm so excited about where we're doing it, because you have um the support of a group, right, in a retreat, but you're also in a natural landscape where you could be alone, because it does require a lot of solitude to be able to be embodied. I think, Carlton, last night I was talking about how I hated when people would talk about meditation, because I used to be like, I'll never fucking do that, because I don't have the band. I can't. I, you want me to like focus on my breath? Like my brain is like 17 television sets going off at once all day long. And the first time it made sense to me was when it was either Osho or Eckhart Tolle. I don't remember what book I read, but they were like, you don't need to like sit down and count your breaths or like clear your mind, whatever that means. You need to do everything that you do, whether it's washing dishes, whether it's making love, whether it's making food, and do that with complete presence, like your entire body's in it.
Present to it.
And
Mhm.
I think sometimes that state brings on so much sensation that we're used to cutting off, that it's so uncomfortable.
Yes,
Like the
yes.
pleasure itself is uncomfortable because we're
Right.
not allowing ourselves to feel it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time that happiness is peace, and peace feels really weird when you're used to chaos.
Oh,
Thank
did
you.
you freak out when you got to Florida? Like, I
You
freak out
mean
every
because it
time I go.
was
I'm like, where is the noise?
Oh, I know. You know what? I just slid right into, oh my gosh. Like
Mm,
I forget how much shielding that I have to do because I'm so used to being in New York because I'm there a lot. But I forget how draining the shielding my energy as an empath is, especially riding the subway. It's like I've got this dome over me and I'm
Yeah.
I'm watching, but
mm,
uh, so I love that. That was really powerful, Fab. Presence is being present and learning to live in a beautiful energy that isn't. We use the past and the potential future to distract ourselves from living in the actual moment and managing our energy to make that moment beautiful. That whole process is very terrifying for most of us because we're not trained to understand that real living and the maximum of life is found in being here and managing not only your perception of it but the energy in which you're showing up in it. And for most of us, we're so used to being taught and trained by the world that we've built that wants to turn us all into basically slave labor, if you will. They just want to put us in the machine and make us participate, and that teaches us to live in what's happening tomorrow and next week, and or what happened in the past, and we're using the past and the future to, and it just keeps people from actually enjoying life. And sensual living, it really is about that ability to not think about the past, to not focus on the future, to be organized, to have plans, to have goals, but to live here is, and it's a gift once you get used to it, but it feels really awkward at first. And I wanted to go back to what you said about meditation. The monetization of commercialization of meditation is one of the most damaging things that's actually happened to it, particularly here in America. The same thing happened with yoga. We made it about cute clothing, and expensive
Mhm.
classes instead of actually bringing it into the country and introducing it to everybody for the um, thousands of years of history it has in proving that it's a wonderful way for people to actually learn to be enlightened and present. And we did the same thing with meditation. We've commercialized it to the point, and I get people need to make money. I'm a spiritual teacher. I get it. I have meditations that are part of my kits, but it is that history of us turning everything into a money making opportunity that's actually turned a lot of people off to meditation because they think it has to be done a very particular way. And it's like, well, that's wonderful when you have a meditation practice and you love it enough to learn other people's styles. But meditation did not need to be taught to our the ancients.
I agree with you, Cynthia, on that very much. And I'm glad you brought that up because there's that, but like, the flip side of that is also um that we have this perception of money as being dirty and bad. And I think that's why so many brilliant teachers and healers like are not actually the I'm just thinking back to like the people that I shouted out before who I've always like watched their careers and they've been in business for a while and I'm like, why aren't they just like superstars right now? You know what I mean? Because we should get paid. Money's just energy. Like we should get paid for the energy that we're putting out. And I think that that might be one of the biggest blockages to pleasure is that we have so much shame. We have as much shame and guilt about money as we do about sex. And sex and money is the same energy, right? It's all like first chakra stuff. Um, you know, I don't think I've ever been even in experiences because I did do years of like going on retreat every year that there's been a teacher that I didn't get something from. There are some courses that I was like, okay, I didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but like that wasn't great. That wasn't what I expected, or I didn't get as much out of that as I thought, but it's never been useless or worthless, right? Like, and going back to what you said before, which is brilliant, which is like, people want to talk about healing. They want to talk about their healing journey, and you can't think yourself into healing.
No, you can't.
You think yourself out of it, if anything.
Right. Carlton,
That's
you
so
said
well
something last
said.
night about um how surprising it is how many people are willing to feel uncomfortable. Wait, I'm trying to remember what you said. It was something about like so many people are willing to stay in discomfort to not have like a moment of discomfort. So like by
Right.
ending a relationship that's bad or by
They'll
like letting go of a job that's draining their effing soul, like
Mhm. Rather than approaching
say
that moment
more.
to just change, to just well, no, that was essentially it. You'll live in these uncomfortable places rather than face what's making you uncomfortable to just get past it. And then after that, you're like, it wasn't really so difficult to say the thing that needed to be said or do the thing that needed to be done. But then after it's done, you're like, what a weight is lifted. So I think that combined with what you mentioned before about, being present and whatever the moment is, they all lead to the sensual living that we're kind of playing with on the as we heighten all our senses, I suppose.
It's so true. I
Mm.
love that you said that, Carlton, about the people because I think you just captured what I keep seeing. So I get frustrated with people who are still circling the drain because I like to work, and this is just me being really frank. I like to work with, and frankly, the women who come to, and it's mostly women, although I do work with men. The women who come to me are already on the spiritual journey, and they've already admitted that they need change, and that they've heard enough that they're willing to do the change. I find myself getting a little bit frustrated with people who keep wanting to circle the same problem, and
Mm.
it's because of that, what you just said. My frustration with them is that they're literally putting themselves through this unhealthy thought habit cycle. It's a cycle they've been repeating for years because because it's what they know and what they're comfortable with, and they'll literally keep themselves in pain for years instead of making that one decision and finally making the change and choice that will actually stop that festering.
Mm.
And
And
actually, Cynthia, like the acceptable form of healing in a Western society, even though like that's definitely shifting and changing because we have more information available, but it's therapy. What does therapy do? It keeps you in the source of what happened, and they'll keep you there for 50 years if you pay,
oh, I
you
know when
know?
people say to me, "Oh, I love my therapist. I've been seeing her for 8 years. I'm working my
Like,
way
how
through the
many times
problem,"
do
and
you
I'm
need to
like,
learn where that behavior came from
"Yeah."
and make the choice to shift the behavior instead of discussing it and thinking about it?
Mhm.
As many times as it takes, I suppose.
Oh,
I
and
guess, but
here's me
also, like,
guilty of
people should
repeating. I
just
mean, I
sign up
spent
and come and
years I spent years repeating the same unhealthy behaviors because I wasn't
oh, yeah,
ready
no,
for
and
change,
again, it's
so
not a judgment. I'm just pointing out that it is worth it to actually put yourself in an environment around supportive, teach whatever you want to call us, or community that is actually going to delve into changing the behavior and giving you the tools that you can use. I mean, whatever tool I learned in the first retreat I ever went to, I had to learn 10 times before I actually implemented it. And like, there's
Yeah.
this quote that's like, if you know how to listen, everyone's the guru. Like, you don't know who is going to present something to you in a place that really lands.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's good.
true. Well, gosh, you guys, we could keep talking, but we're out of time.
I don't want
We've
to
already.
stop talking.
I know. I'll have to check and see if we can extend the time for the live stream because it's 30 minutes and we're at 30 minutes.
Are we?
Yeah, yeah. This is
6:25.
Wow.
which I just have to say, I really think we should consider doing more of this kind of thing because I think, and of course, Carlton, you usually speak more, but you've been quiet in this one because Fab and I were sharing so much.
Well, no,
Well,
Carlton's about to share, our last piece,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah. So Carlton, what is the news
get
that we are
uncomfortable, Carlton.
I'm like, what am I sharing? What's going on?
or yeah, what do we have coming up this spring that our
I mean,
Sure.
fans and supporters want to hear about?
I think we've pretty much been playing around with getting the details together throughout the end of last year, and then I guess Fab and I going to really touch down and solidify plans to pull this together for the first week in June has gotten us really serious about what our itinerary will be and what we're going to be sharing in this workshop that now I'm more excited about than ever before because I think we all know like getting away from home is the only way you can often do some of the most just unplug. It's like it doesn't happen at home because there's always something to do.
Yeah,
So I think we're finalizing the dates, which
it's the June
So
4th through
where are
the
we
8th.
going and what are we doing and
the
when?
4th.
Yeah, June 4th through the 8th in the Dominican Republic. Glow
Yes,
the F up.
yes, GTFU,
Word.
or glow the fuck up for all those willing to
To glow.
appreciate the expressionism that we're sharing here because it's going to be more. It's going to be more than
Yeah. I
just
call
Yeah,
it
and don't
rocks.
y'all just kind of want to hang out with us?
That's so true. We're
well.
fun.
There's been some requests for that too. I have one of my friends who's gifting her cousin the retreat, and she's having some physical ailment. She's like, I just want to lay up on the beach, and y'all can do whatever you want to do.
You could
And
lay
I
up on
might
the beach and absorb the
most
information.
certainly,
Absolutely.
but
You
I
don't have
know
to do a damn thing.
it won't. That's a nice thought, but there's going to be too much great information and sharing and healing going on
Yeah,
to just
yeah.
watch it over there. You're going to want to be a part of it.
Well, no, but that's a good point. I do want to say that to our listeners is you do what you need to do. This is a
For
choose your
everybody.
own adventure situation. We're going to be offering as much as we are able to offer, whatever you receive is what you receive. And if you just want to go there and like lay down, that's okay too, because that is
Right.
self-care.
For
Yeah.
those of you who really love to learn, we'll be sharing the 9 steps to life mastery and bliss. We'll be sharing sensual living workshops. We'll be doing meditation and yoga and allowing you to just enjoy being somewhere beautiful where the phone's not ringing.
Mhm.
We may have to have a rule about phones.
We'll figure out what that rule is.
We
Well,
can collect the
definitely
phone.
ringers up.
Nobody's going to want their phone when they get to Coconut Paradise, though.
Right, right. For those of you who are interested, you can visit Shaman Ice's GTFU retreat. The group we'll share a post in the group and begin to share the page with everybody. But we'll have more details for you on our next live stream. We got 20 seconds left. Does anybody want to say anything before we go?
Happy New
Thank you for
Year.
being here.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks you guys. Have an amazing Tuesday, and we'll post and let you know we're going to be doing our next live stream.
All right. Tune
Yes.
All
in.
right.
Bye, kitty
Sending
cat.
you guys